this is where the term putting out your fleece comes from. Because he says, okay, if it's you talking to me that I'm going to put my fleece out tonight, and in the morning, if the ground's wet but the fleece is dry, then I'll believe it's you and I'll do it. And he comes out and the ground's wet and the fleece is dry. And he goes, okay, I'm going to put my fleece out again tonight, fleece being lambskin. And if the fleece is wet but the ground is dry, then I'll believe it's you. So he puts it out, and he comes out and the fleece is wet and the ground's dry. So he's like, okay, I'm fine. I understand. And so he puts together an army. And like 30,000 men come out or something like that. A huge number. And guy goes, you got too many. If anybody is fearful, send them home. So he says, anybody who's afraid, go home. And a bunch of them went. And then I think there was a couple of different tests. I don't remember what they are, but there were a few tests, a bunch of them leave. And then finally God says, take them down to the river and have them take a drink. And anybody who puts his face in the water, send him home. Anybody who pulls water up in his hands and drinks from his hands while looking around, keep him. Gideon winds up with 300 warriors and no more. And God's like, this is your army. And Gideon's like, this is a joke. And but that's it. He gets 300 warriors. And he's like, you're going to go face the Philistines with this. Philistines, I don't remember how many. It was this ridiculous number of soldiers in their army. And so God says, gather your swords, gather a pot, and build a fire in your pot, and go out at night up on this hillside. And they go and surround this encampment where the Philistines are. And God says, when I tell you, everybody break your pot and charge down the mountain, and just with the loudest battle cry that you can. And so, being faithful and believing, when God says, Gideon and his men break their pot, run down, and just freak these guys completely out, to the point that the Philistines wake up from a dead sleep and start killing each other. And they devastated themselves to the point that Gideon and his 300 warriors basically walk through and just finish them off. I mean, they don't really even fight. It's just that much of an overwhelming fear that God puts in the Philistines. So that's the story of Gideon and his 300.
That's right.
Just to do a quick little synopsis of what he's talking about.
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
My question to you, so what would you recommend to the viewers? So, you're talking about keeping your humility and staying humble. So as you get more and more knowledge, and you look at people like me who walk in who know nothing, and then so how do you do that? How do you continue to stay humble and draw closer to God?
Do you have an answer, or do you want me to have an answer?
Well, I try to practice things. So, and I mean, this may not be everybody's answer, but to me, if it works out, I give credit to God. If it screws up, I consider that to be me. And that's just, I mean, that keeps me humble. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always like that, but if it screws up, I take credit for it. If it works, I give God.
There you go. And that's good. I think staying connected again. I mean, I've used that several times today. It's kind of my war cry or whatever. Stay connected to God, because that's ultimately the key to any success for anything, whether it be prayer, whether it be ministry, whatever it might be. And that includes being humble in those things. When you stay connected to God, you already have that feeling of being humbled. I mean, not in a negative way, but in a good way. You realize the power of the God that we see, and the awesomeness of our God. And the more you understand that, the more you realize how less important you are. And even though we might be less important, we're so much loved. And that's the awesome part. That's the part that floors me, is that as when we understand our importance and how He doesn't need us at all. He doesn't need us for anything. But for some reason known to Him, He loves us unconditionally and totally, and more than we could ever imagine, more than anything. And I think that's the part that keeps me humble, is knowing that how small anything I could do is compared to what God has already done for me and what He will do in other people's lives also. And I think, yeah, I mean, I think that's the way. I mean, is that help it off?
Like, I figure everyone's got maybe their own things that help them. And so I'm
Yeah,
just like, for myself and then viewers out there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
as you work up your knowledge ladder and, know more and more, is how do you stay connected, I
yeah,
guess? And how does, what does that look like for you? Because to me, like, you can know the Bible, but if you don't have that relationship, and how do you get that relationship? Like, those are all the things, like, that's like you said, you're staying connected. It's that connection that makes everything work and happen.
yeah,
But so many people miss that connection. They know the Bible, they know the stories, but they have no idea who God is. They have no relationship with Him, and so I think anytime you can help people figure that out, it's not just then they just say I know the Bible,
yeah.
but if they're missing it.
And I think a lot. Oh, go ahead.
No, finish
I
your.
was thinking. I think a lot of it has to do with putting others above yourself. A lot of times, people will have the knowledge and they have all these different things, not realizing what they do with that knowledge. What did God provide that knowledge to you? He provides it for others, so that you can help others to mature, that you can glorify God. I mean, it's really, you need to use it, which means that at that point, the gifts that God's given you, and we did a spiritual gift study,
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago, using those gifts, because the more you use them, the more He teaches you how to actually walk in the scriptures. What is it? I mean, you can have the head knowledge, like we were saying earlier, but actually experiencing it by doing for others is the way that it actually makes it real. And you can add on whatever you.
Well, I was just going to point out something that you said. Consider, he said that, and this goes to humility, and if not humility, at least it goes to knowing that we're loved. Because he said, God doesn't need us, but He chooses us. Think about that. How many of us have had a job that we hated, but we needed it? We went to it every day. I mean, I've had jobs where I woke up every morning going, nope, can't call in today. I got bills.
Yeah.
And I went to it because I had to have that paycheck. And then I've had days where I woke up at, before dawn when I didn't have to, and went and climbed in a tree stand that I didn't have to climb into so that I could, wait for a deer that I didn't need to shoot because there's beef at the grocery store, but I wanted to because I love doing that. You know, I have, it's just, that's what I wanted to point out is we do things that we need to do even when we don't want to, but we do things we love to do even when it's burdensome because we love it. We go deal with family that we have to deal with because they're family or people or whatever that we don't necessarily want to deal with, but we have to. But then we will go out of our way for people that we love, even if we don't have to, but because we love them and we will do anything for them. And that's what he's saying about God. He doesn't need us.
Mm-hmm.
He uses us and stays with us and died for us because he loved us. And he didn't have to, but he wants to.
I think that's, I'm listening. I thought you were going to go a different way, but when you're talking about what you do because you love, and I think that's the incredible thing, like where I was kind of going with that relationship, with going from knowledge to have a relationship with Jesus, is that love. Because when that grabs a hold of you, you're not checking boxes. You're doing it because you love that. And it's like, for me, it just totally flipped me. I mean, it changed everything. The things, my wants, what I want to do, what I'm doing, is because of that love. It's not because, oh well, God said to do this, so I got to go do this today. So that was my thoughts when you were talking about the love in there too.
Yeah.
It changes how you perceive what it is you're doing, I guess.
Yeah, I was reading a devotional the other day, and it was about God's love and it drawing us and actually changing us and all of that. And the analogy that they were using was black hole. And being an old ex-science teacher, that caught my attention and everything. And but you talk about the extreme gravitational pull of a black hole, and they talk about that the mass is so great and that it draws so much in so much of a gravitational field that even light can't escape from it. It draws even light, which in other words, faster than the speed of light. In other words, so the light will never. It looks black, and then that would be great. And you say, "Oh wow, that's so cool" and everything, because one of my granddaughters actually asking about black holes and stuff. But then you stop and you realize God's love is greater than the universe, the entire universe. And his unfailing love is greater than that. So you start thinking about God's love that's pulling on us. That black hole is not even a drop. It's not even a piece of what God's love is for us, because he created it. He created all of you, and God is greater than all of his creation. So all those black holes are nothing compared to God and his love and his pull on us, because he loves us that much. And that pull is what changes us, in his desire for us. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think we looked at really some of the stories, and as far as what things do we look at as far as when we mentor people, what drives us, what keeps us going on that. What are y'all's thoughts on what you've heard so far today, or what you've heard today? Where are you on that right now?
I don't know. I mean, we've already gone really deep. That's a lot to process. That's a big question right there.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest takeaway, I think, is kind of what I started with, is just always be looking for the opportunities to either receive it or to give it, because like you said, it can always change. I mean, even, I mean, I've reached out and tried to help people, even though I don't have a lot of, experience, but even a month before someone else, I'm still walking in front of that person. And so, I just know I want to help speed their journey and strengthen it and all that kind of stuff if I can.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing about it, that maybe we haven't even talked about it, is the joy of watching somebody's life change. That's just such an amazing thing to see somebody change, and to know, because of the change, that it's Jesus, because like he can only do, people can go to the gym and change certain things, but when Jesus changes somebody, it's so night and day in it. There's absolutely no argument of like why that person changed. It's so evident of that. I mean, pretty gratifying.
Yeah.
So Jason is he's an anomaly.
Okay. Yeah. I told you.
Anyway, yeah, he has pointed this out to me. I throw curveballs and come at things from a totally different way than most people, because I'm an anomaly as well. Jason's an anomaly because I guess it's maybe his background as a teacher or public speaking makes him less afraid of people, whatever the case. But he is so willing to step out and be like, hey, I want to know stuff. I want to learn stuff. And so he's on fire, but he's like, hey, I don't know enough. I need somebody to talk to. And so he'll reach out. So many will come to faith and not have that boldness and not have that comfort with strangers to do that. And so I want to model that boldness that Jason has as a veteran
Yeah, I agree.
and step out and be like, hey, man, I saw you, make a profession of faith. I want to make sure that I am a resource you can use.
Mhm.
I am somebody who has been where you are,
Yeah.
and I don't want you to feel like you're alone in this thing. So we as the veterans, and as you become more veteran, and I mean, like you said, you're already doing it, but we need to make sure that new believers know, hey, you're not alone in this. Today feels great. Tomorrow is going to suck because that's how the world works. And tomorrow, I want you to know you can call me.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee there's going to be stuff going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of the
Why?
thing. But when whether it's tomorrow, the next day, or next week, or whatever, when you make a mistake, when you fall, it's not over.
No.
You don't think that, but rather call me. I mean, you go to an AA meeting, you're assigned a sponsor. That's how it works with addictions and other things. That's how we model it everywhere else. And yet the church is like, hey, you came and professed your faith. Good job. Bye.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't know how good of a job a lot of times that we do, drawing on that to make new believers understand that yes, your life will change. Yes, all things become new. Yes, you are a new creation. Yes, there's joy that'll be there in spite of everything and all these different things, but there will be hardships. And it says it so many places. And we need to be honest with people as we lead them to Christ to make them understand, because I think so many new believers fall. I mean, I don't fall permanently, but so many of them are disillusioned or walk away from the faith a lot of time because they don't realize the hardships and not realizing, hey, we're in enemy territory.
Yep.
Right? We are. And so we are going to face hardships because the enemy hates us just as much as he hates God. And we have to realize that by promoting him, we're going to be facing some of the same trials and tribulations and battles. That's why God's given us his full armor to protect us. If we didn't need protecting, we wouldn't need armor. So we need to understand that we need to be honest with, because I hear people so many times that, the lead people, they'll talk about Christ and, oh, you're not going to ever need this. You're never going to have any blessing. You're never going to do this. Baloney. I mean, that's not what it's about. It's about a new life in Christ. Yes. It's about eternal salvation. And it's about God renewing you and transforming your life for forever. But, you will face trials.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that's a misconception is when you come to Jesus is that now everything is rainbows and sunshine, and you get that initial breakthrough and it's amazing, but it's like everything else that America sells you. It's not going to be continual, and then it's like you wake up the next day and your car doesn't start. And you're like, wait a second, hey, I'm on Team Jesus. Like my car's supposed to be
That's right.
starting, and
Yeah, I was supposed to walk out this morning with a Lamborghini.
it was. It wasn't great. It's clean, but it's got a price tag on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I do agree. I think that's you have to let people know is that like the world is still the world, and you read the Bible, but it's right there in front of your face. You miss it. Like Jesus had a terrible life. Why would you say I'm going to follow him and expect that your life was going to be something completely different? But that's what I think the world has sold you is that and probably for whatever reasons, but it's you're going to struggle. And so I think being a resource and also advertising it, and kind of like you said, from being around my students and stuff, I try to be transparent because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
You if Jared walked into Manu every Wednesday and pretended like his life was perfect, I know like I'm gonna be like, man, I'm doing something wrong because this guy, you know what I mean? But when he comes in and says, hey, I'm dealing with this, and I'm like, man, I've dealt with that. I get it. Like Brian was talking about his swearing. Like when he was praying that, I was having at the exact same time. I was trying to clean up my language too. And so to hear another man professing that this is where I'm struggling, it's refreshing because oh man, I'm not so crazy. I'm kind of like you. I'm normal, you know, and
Yeah.
that's the world, man. We want to feel normal. We want to know that the crazy stuff that was going on in our heads and in our lives is everyone's dealing with it, you know?
That's right. And that's what the enemy, again, he wants to isolate you. And that's what we were saying earlier about being in community and all that. He wants to isolate you because he wants you to feel like you're the only one dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all you, you know, and it's just like no one else is dealing with this. And yeah, that's the good thing about community again is we're all, you know, we're all messed up.
Yeah.
Anybody says they aren't, then that's not, you don't really want to listen to them too much because they don't, you know, they're not really telling you the truth anymore.
Yeah, it goes back to, 1 Corinthians 8, where it says anybody who says they have all the answers really doesn't know a whole lot.
No.
And something I wanted to say then, and we kind of went off and I didn't get to. That's something that I always want to make clear, and I want to make clear in this forum as well, is don't just take what we're saying
No.
for the gospel either. Double check us too, because we're human. We make mistakes. I mean, I know we're on your screen, and somehow being on your screen makes us seem like we're somehow more, credible or whatever, because, somebody recorded it and put it on the internet. That means
Yeah.
it's. But people make mistakes.
We definitely make mistakes.
Yeah, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, right?
I'm a French model,
Right? But, I always encourage people. I study. I really, really try not to bring anything and put it in front of people that I'm not certain is correct.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I didn't miss something.
Yeah, you might miss a name, or you may miss a date, or you may miss things like that. I mean, we're all that way. If I was perfect, then I wouldn't need Jesus. But I'm not perfect either. And again, I mean, as far as foundational, though, I think we're all on pretty good ground when it comes to the foundation of the Word, and because that's where we check ourselves. I mean, that's what I do. I check myself against the Word. I mean, that's ultimately my touch point. I mean, I can always in my mind say, okay, well, God, is this right? And you'll get, maybe the Holy Spirit may give you confirmation, but so many times it's our own emotions where it gets in the way, or our own thoughts, and our own, like we're mad that day, so that's why you take those things and you put it against the Word of God, and then you know. So that's it.
Amen.
No, I'm good.
So, we get to the end, or we got more?
I think I'm at the end right now. Let me see. Chapter 2 of my life.
Yeah. And point 2.
Yeah.
Now I guess talk about the historical side of me. I was born in 19. No, good. So,
all right. Well,
okay.
That seems to be the end of our conversation. It was great having you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all for allowing me to. I mean, again, this is an honor sitting here. And again, it's just talking about being humbled. I mean, because I've seen y'all online, and I felt very humbled to even be allowed to come in here, because I never really thought that I'd be able to. And I appreciate it. Hopefully, I gave it a little bit of something that, hopefully somebody out there might need something on that. And I hope I was able to contribute that. I really do.
Yeah. God has purpose for us, and when you walked in with that, I knew that God put it on you, and so I knew it was going to be right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And those of you who made it this far, thanks for that. Most of you didn't. You don't know we're making fun of you right now. Hey guys.
Until next time.
Well, we'll see you next time, and thanks for joining us.
Take care.